God is not fair. If God was going to punish Adam and Eve for eating the fruit from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, then why in the world did God put it in the garden in the first place? I mean, it almost seems like God was setting up Adam and Eve to fail. Hardly seems fair to me. Hold on. Not so fast. Let's talk about this. Hello, I'm Methodist Dave. I'm a professional theologian and Bible teacher. And today we're talking about the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Now, the idea of putting something so dangerous in the Garden of Eden, something that could ruin and spoil God's perfect creation, really sounds a little odd. I mean, why would God put something so dangerous for them to eat from in the first place? Now, in Genesis chapter 3, we take up where Adam and Eve are living happily and blissfully in the Garden of Eden. They have lived a vegetarian lifestyle up until this point. God tells them that you can eat every fruit, every seed, of anything that grows in the garden, there for you food, and they're just as happy as can be. And then one day, Eve is wandering in the garden, and she comes near the tree of knowledge of good and evil, and the serpent tempts her to take a bite from the fruit. See, he tricks her into believing that the reason why God doesn't want them to eat from this tree is because that will make them wise and they will be like God. So she looks it over. It looks good for food and it'll make us wise. So she takes of the fruit of the tree and she eats it. And then she gives it to Adam. And Adam eats it. So the question we face is, why would God place something so dangerous in the Garden of Eden? Let me ask you a question. What is the key feature of love? We might say romance, passion, chemistry, but the most important element, the most important feature of love is free will. It's something that we can choose to do and choose to not do. When the Virginia colony was founded, the settlers were all men. And that'll work okay for a little while. But in order for a colony to thrive, you need to have women. So Great Britain rounds up women off the street, prostitutes, criminals, women who can't find a husband, people who are just have no recourse, and offers them a free trip to America. You can go to America where you will find a husband in the colony. So the women, when the ship arrives, the colonists bring baskets of tobacco and buy wives off of the boat. The women had little to say in who their husband was going to be. And needless to say, many of these matches were not happily ever after. But some of them took. Regardless, there were families and the colony thrived. Today, women are not forced into marriage relationships. At least in our culture, they're not. They have the right to say no. Modern marriage may not end in happily ever after, but it is our choice whether we want it to or not. Now, God could have put Adam and Eve in bubble wrap and never given them a chance to mess things up. He could have created them forced to love him, but they would be little more than puppets on a string. That's not really love. When you have to love somebody, that's not love. We're fond of saying that if you love somebody, set them free. If they return, they're yours forever, but if they don't, they were never yours to begin with. Anyone who's raised children can remember when your children were teenagers. Now, in an effort to establish their own identity, they take to defying their parents at every turn. They won't dress the way their parents want them to. They won't wear their hair, makeup, and they're always trying to establish their independence. Leads to that old joke. Adam and Eve were probably teenagers. By allowing them to choose their destiny themselves, God allowed Adam and Eve to exercise free will. See, without this freedom, then the relationship that we have with God ourselves is worthless. We too are free to choose to follow God or not, to do good unto others or not. As far as dying after eating the fruit, it's incredible that the human body has the capacity to heal itself. Our cells regenerate on a daily basis. The hair we grow and the nails, these are dead cells that our body is getting rid of. And our body creates new ones and it reforms them, and we're constantly renewing. Now, if our cells could renew and reproduce perfectly every single solitary time, then we would never age or grow old or get sick or die from illness, because our body has the capacity to repair itself. But from this point, the fall, well, our cells don't reproduce perfectly anymore. And from that day forward, even though Adam and Eve did not die that day, from that point onward, day by day, they would never be the same. And let me close with this little fact. Most people say that Eve, that was her fault, because if she hadn't been tricked, then we wouldn't be in this mess. But if you look at the text, Eve is deceived. She's tricked into eating the fruit. Adam willfully disobeys God's word, and Adam eats the fruit without a word from Eve. She gave him the fruit and he ate it. Now, we often think that Adam is blaming Eve. This woman that you gave me, she gave me the fruit and I eat it. Adam was blaming God. The woman that you gave me, she gave me the fruit and I ate it, as if to say, God, hey, I was fine until she came along and you gave her to me. So God, it's your fault. Adam blamed God. God, it's your fault. Well, who knows what would have happened if Adam would have owned up to his mistake and said, I done messed up, God. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Who knows what life would be like today? Didn't happen that way. So, when we make a mistake, what do? We blame somebody else. How little things have changed over the years. Thank you for joining me. If you have any questions, you can drop me a line at my email, methodistdave@gmail.com. And if there's something that you'd like to know about, or you want something me to delve into a little deeper or talk about in a little more at length, just drop me a line. I'd love to hear from you. Make sure you like, share, and have a good day. Bye-bye.